Hello, I'm Carolyn Banner of Body by Banner, and welcome to day 5, our last day of the Control Your Cravings course. I can't believe we're at the end finally, you guys. We're gonna wrap everything up. I'm gonna give you a really useful tool that's been super helpful for me called the APT Response. I'm gonna walk you through those 3 steps today, and just to help you make sure that you have something to take with you to just when those cravings really hit you hard, because like I said, they're not going to just magically disappear. I don't have any magic fairy dust to remove your cravings, but when they do pop up, I'm going to have a tool for you that you can really pull out of your back pocket and use to just change the direction of where that craving maybe normally took you in the past, that pattern, break that pattern and create a new pattern of healthy eating and a relationship with food that feels really free, where you can enjoy your food and not feel like a slave to it. All right, so you guys who've been watching in already know the routine. We're gonna just cover some housekeeping things first, review what we've gone over before the last few days, and then jump into the new material and wrap everything up. So for those of you who are watching in, I love to just know if you can hear me okay. So hit the like button, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay, see me okay, the connection's all right. Let me know that. It really helps to have that feedback. And then also, even if you've been watching in before, I love to know where you're watching from, where you are in the world. A lot of ladies love to just kind of feel connected with other people that are watching. So just type that in the comments when you get a chance. And also put in the comments any questions you have. I'll be more than happy to answer them about today's material or anything that we've been covering over the last 4 days. So this is our 5th day of this course. I'm really excited how this has gone. Been getting some really amazing feedback from you ladies, and really happy that these tools are resonating with you and can hopefully bring you some relief when those cravings pop up for you, because they will, right? Like they're still gonna show up. We're gonna try and diminish them and then try to find some ways to, when they do come up, so that you don't feel controlled by them. All right, so as you're putting in the comments where you're from and any questions you have, I'm just gonna quickly go over what we've covered so far, right? So we've gone through a lot of information, and I wanna kind of give that overview, like the big picture. And the big picture is this: there's kind of like 3 parts, I think, to working on controlling our cravings. And that is our physiological ability to try and minimize our cravings. So what I like to look at with my clients is those biofeedback clues that our body gives us, which are usually hunger, energy, and cravings. So trying to minimize those things, get them under control so that physiologically we're in good hormonal balance and we're not going to have excessive cravings. Because that we're taking into consideration our nutrition, we're taking into consideration our stress and our sleep, and we're taking into consideration our exercise and how that affects our cravings and our hormonal balance. So that's one part of it, is just kind of doing the detective work to figure those things out so that we can have our hunger, energy, and cravings in check, so that we have that good hormonal balance, so that our cravings aren't exasperated. So we're not going to completely eliminate them that way, but to really start to dig into what's going on. And so we went through on day 1, we kind of just distinguished the difference between hunger and cravings. So really trying to break it down, like how do you know if you're having a craving, or how do you know if you're hungry and really truly need to eat? So make sure, if you haven't already, you can always go back and rewatch those trainings from days 1 through 4. They are on the Facebook page under videos, or on my YouTube channel, the Body by Banner YouTube channel. So go and check those out. If you haven't already, I highly recommend just catching up when you're able to and building on the material. And on day 1, we really walked through just the emotional, of course, there's someone here at my door. I'm gonna bring you guys with me because we have an important certified mail thing coming, and I think this might be it. So just one second. Sorry for this, you guys. Hi.
Carolyn?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. All right. Sorry, you guys. You never know what's going to happen when you're doing Facebook Live at home. Okay, let's go back to my spot. Hey, Juanita. Hey, Branca. Thanks for joining in, you guys. All right. Whew. All right. So day one, we went over the difference between hunger and cravings, and we also broke down just the emotional connection to our cravings and the burden, and allowing ourselves to really feel that burden of having uncontrollable cravings, the time, energy, disconnection it maybe has caused us, the effect on our health and our weight, and really felt that burden and allowed ourselves to maybe dig into that a bit more through the journaling exercise that I sent out to those on the Control Your Cravings course list. And I know it can be hard to dig into some of those old stories and patterns and try and see some of the connections and just the patterns that have been popping up maybe for years. And I went through my story. That's really been going on since I was young, like since I was 10, and my relationship with food and how I've handled those cravings that have come up. And so I think it's really important to go into that a bit. I don't like to stay stuck in the past, but to use it as a guide, to go into it and to journal about it. And what I recommended was an exercise to burn, to burn that and let it go. So to really feel the weight of that so that you can feel motivated, I think, to change it and really understand the cost that it can have of having uncontrollable cravings and really feeling controlled by emotional and stress eating. So to feel that weight, to feel the burden of it, and then to really release that and say, like, this is not my story anymore. This is not what I want to hold on to, and to move on from there. And on day 2, we dived more into the nutrition tools. So really getting the foundation of our diet set so that we don't have that physiological response that's really causing us to have more cravings than we really need. So getting a really good fiber and vegetable intake, getting really good protein intake throughout the day, not just at dinner time, but really spreading it out, making sure our hydration's on point and staying really fully hydrated so that we're not feeling more cravings than we maybe need to. And a few other tools that I really went into more, so go back and watch that on day 2, as well as the information I sent out to the list. So even if you haven't signed up, I'm gonna send a recap of everything. Even if this can leave this list open so that you guys can still have these tools available to you. If you're just finding out about this and joining in now, you're gonna get that information. Day 3, we went into exercise and how exercise can really have an effect on our cravings and can potentially increase them. And then some really cool strategies to use movement and exercise to help minimize our cravings. So getting more strategic and smart about our exercise and actually to help mitigate those cravings. Day 3, or was it? Day 4 was yesterday, and we went into sleep and stress and how lack of sleep is a stress on the body and how those can really trigger cravings as well. So kind of breaking down all these different parts, and I think those are all important, right? Like the physiological part of our body. So, right, like what we're putting in with nutrition, what we're doing with our body in terms of exercise, how we're resting and recovering. That's a really important part, a really important foundation. However, I find, especially for women, it leaves out a huge component, which is what we kind of touched on at the beginning, at the first day, that I want to circle back to, and that is our patterns, our emotional patterns, our stories around food, and how we have used food perhaps as comfort, as a friend, as a way to handle really high emotions, either really bad emotions or really good emotions. Even if you're having a really good, like super exciting time, that can be a stress too. And sometimes we can turn to food in those situations as well. So if you can relate to that, anyone who's watching, like just give me a thumbs up if that's something you've encountered in your life, if you've dealt with emotional eating, where you feel like you're eating and you're having these strong cravings that almost feel uncontrollable for certain foods because of a response to some situation that has happened in your life. You had a stressful day at work, or and that can also be something where you have just habitual patterns where this is like you always go out after work for happy hour with your friends, and that's when you drink, and you have maybe heavy appetizers, or you have a beer and then you always have fries with them. So these like patterns, right, that are either situational or emotionally based, and they can really become ingrained. And I want to help give you a tool today that can break that pattern so that you don't feel like you just are in these grooves that you can't get out of, right? Like think of like at least in Chicago, we have a lot of snow in the winter, and you get like sometimes there's these tracks in the snow that hasn't been plowed if you're driving, and it's just packed down, and you can't even like get out of that groove and into a different lane because it's so like high on the sides, and you just feel like you can't transition. Trying to think of another analogy for people who won't have snow as much, but think about like if you're stuck and you're in the mud, you know, and you just can't get into another groove. So that's kind of what we've been stuck in, right? Is this feeling of, and I know I experienced it a lot until about 5 to 6 years ago when I started to do the work, which I'm sharing with you, is all these tools are the work I've been doing over the last 5 years to find freedom with food. Before that, I was stuck in those grooves that felt like I couldn't ever change. I couldn't change lanes into an easier way. It was always like the hardest way. So if that's something you can relate to, we're gonna break that down. And this tool that I'm sharing with you is called the APT Response, and it's got 3 parts to it. And the first one is acknowledge. So APT is APT, and it's just trying to find a better way, the more apt approach to handle a situation, because right, these situations are gonna come up. So it's not that we're gonna eliminate them, it's just that we need to find a better or apt way of handling when they do pop up. So A is acknowledge. And that is to, again, find that awareness. So that's the first part, is just to be aware of these patterns and to acknowledge it. Because if we don't acknowledge it, if we don't bring it to our front of our brain, if it just becomes like an unacknowledged pattern that's just keeps going, it doesn't keep going if we don't really bring our attention to it. So this is just bringing that laser focus on this issue that you are starting to feel frustrated by, perhaps. Maybe you're getting to that breaking point where like, this isn't feeling good, this isn't helping me, this is setting me back. All those things that we maybe went through on day 1 of that burden, and you're just like fed up. I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this anymore. So it's just like bringing your laser focus on it, acknowledging that there's the pattern and finding that. So go back to day 1 and encourage you to do that journaling exercise, really acknowledge your pattern, and in the moment. So this is a tool I want you to use, like not only as a global thing with cravings, but also like, say for me, like night times when they really hit, my cravings really hit. And so my number 1 thing is just like acknowledge that this is happening, instead of like just not being present with the now and being like distracted or stuck on, fixated on how I'm gonna fulfill that craving and just obsessive thoughts around it. It's acknowledging the pattern. So that's number 1. And when I say the pattern, I really want to emphasize the pattern rather than your pattern or my pattern, and to relieve a little bit of that shame and guilt that we can feel with emotional eating and these cravings, because it can really feel heavy sometimes, right? It can feel like we're in it alone. It can feel like we are perhaps, it's unique to us and no one else is in it. And that there's some shame associated with it. It's my pattern, like this is my thing that's just embarrassing, or nobody else is doing this. And so that can feel really isolating. So I think the number 1 thing I like to encourage is to say like that it's the pattern versus my pattern. So acknowledging, okay, here's the pattern again, it's popping up, rather than, oh my gosh, I'm doing this again, it's me, it's like, I'm in this alone, I'm so embarrassed, you know, like all these things that can really just halt us and make it even worse, and self-sabotage, where we just feel that shame and guilt, and that perpetuates, then it feeds into even worse behavior. So first of all, acknowledge, just stop, acknowledge that it's a pattern, and that it's the pattern rather than yours, like just you, and that and part of that, saying that it is the pattern rather than my pattern, is to acknowledge that there's a lot of things that have contributed to that pattern, from the way you were brought up, through the environment we've been in, through the way our parents were around food, and as a child, like we're absorbing those things without even awareness of it, and it's been kind of put on us. So there's stories that we've been absorbing around food, and the media that we maybe were exposed to as a child, the advertisements, all of these things, the ways that our families handled celebrations or stress. So just acknowledging that you've taken on a lot of these things, the pattern around food that you uniquely are manifesting, but that it's something that you kind of yes, you need to take responsibility for it now, but it also, and you're not a victim, but it's acknowledging that there's been a part that has been put on you and absorbed, and that it's not just you in this alone, that we've all kind of had these different patterns put on us around food, and to realize, okay, I'm just ready, I'm acknowledging it, and I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to find freedom from it. It doesn't have to be ruling me anymore. So that's number one, acknowledge. Please put any questions you guys have in the comments, and again, I'll get back to them at the at the end. Number two, P. So for the APT response, P is to pause. So when we get into a craving cycle, from what I found especially true for myself and for a lot of the clients that I've worked with, is that it becomes a trance. It almost becomes this numbing out, and you're in a zone, and it's hard to kind of feel in control of your behaviors. You feel like you're controlled by the craving rather than feeling in control and at ease around food. And so the number two thing is to pause and to just take time. So pause is not just to take time, but it's also to break the physical environment, to do something to change up, to just physically change the environment. So pause and change and do something else. So what I specifically like to do is set a timer. It could be for 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever you find is helpful for you. And oftentimes cravings can kind of just ease up after 3 to 5 minutes, they've studied. Usually they can kind of go after 3 to 5 minutes. So I usually say at least 5 minutes, and to physically change what you're doing. And I have some ideas for you to share. And of course, I want you to, again, put it through the filter of you, find what works for you. I'll give you some ideas, and then you can try those, maybe see if they work, or see if there's something else that might work better for you. So with a pause, set the timer, or just take 5 breaths. It doesn't even need to be that official. If you're out somewhere and you're having a craving and you can't go through this officially in the setting the timer and doing something different that you might do at home, I want you to be able to take this with you and use it anywhere. You could pause and take a minute, or just do 10 slow inhales and 10 slow outhales. And that can be enough to just change your pattern. So with the pause, if you're home, you have a little bit more flexibility, right? You can actually set the timer, you can go do something else, you can kind of have a routine that you can turn to help physically change your environment. When you're out or with other people, you might not be able to be like, hold on guys, I gotta go do my 5-minute timeout and go do my breathing exercises or whatever. Yeah, it might not really work so well. So I wanted this to be flexible for you so you can use it in any situation. So take time though. It could be as little as 30 seconds up to, I would say, 15 minutes, where I set a timer sometimes and drink a bunch of water and do something different with my physical environment, my body. For me, that's oftentimes either doing a quick yoga flow, going for a walk, leaving the house if I'm in the house. It could be doing meditation or breathing exercises, which I'm going to be sharing with you as the bonus that I'll be sending out to the Control Your Cravings course list later, is a guided just breathing exercise. And basically what it is you take, again, it could be 1 minute up to 5 minutes, and you just do alternate nostril breathing to really connect to your breath and to ground yourself, and to just help the time for the craving to ease up. So this just is a way of breaking the pattern. So with some time, by pausing and then changing the physical environment. You could do something as simple as brushing your teeth. You could do something as simple as doing 10 burpees or push-ups. You could go journaling. You can make a cup of tea. Do something else and just change it up. See if that can help break the pattern with your craving. So A was acknowledge, P was pause and change your physical environment. And the last one, T, is tribe. It stands for tribe. And that is to, once you've kind of gone through this, is to connect with a tribe, to connect with your tribe. It could be one person in particular that's sort of your accountability person, or your friend, your partner, somebody that you really trust and can feel vulnerable with, and they can hold that space for you. Or it can be a group, like the ladies in the Magic Makers movement that I work with. That's their tribe. It could be, I don't know, it could be your family. It could be someone that you really trust. But with this, it's not only connecting with them, sending them a quick text, could be just like shifting, right? Instead of focusing so much on this huge feeling of like uncontrolled cravings and you're just feeling wrapped up in it, by connecting with your tribe, it does two things. It really connects you with them and feels like you're supported, and you can share that struggle with them and feel that you have support. And two, it can really shift you into getting outside of your own head. And what I like to do is just send a quick text to connect with somebody that maybe I haven't been in touch with as much recently. I've been thinking of them, but I haven't reached out. And you know, like it's not that hard, but it's just like sending them a text or a voice memo or a quick email. And for me, that connection to my tribe, even if they're not physically with me, is so helpful, because it feels like I'm not in it alone. And it really breaks it out of just my struggle, and it puts it into, again, like the struggle or the pattern, and it can really start to get me connected to others rather than being stuck in my own problems of this feeling like these uncontrollable cravings. So that's a suggestion. So A was acknowledge. Just acknowledge the pattern. That's not just yours. It's been kind of like absorbed from our environment in the society. 2 is pause. So actually take some time from anywhere from 30 seconds up to about 15 minutes. I'll set the timer sometimes, and oftentimes you guys, I forget about it. If I'm craving like chocolate after lunch or something sweet after lunch, and I'm just like, you know what, I want to try and break this pattern of always turning to something sweet, I will set my timer, drink a huge glass of water, go brush my teeth, and after that 15-minute timer goes off, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want that I don't really want that treat anymore, and hey, move on. It's over. So P is for pause. T is for tribe, and that is to really connect for support and to get out of your head, to get out of it being just your problem, and to start to just take it into your support network and feel like you're connected to others, and that, yeah, you can start to feel grateful for that person. You can just, if you're gonna reach out and text someone, email someone, or call someone and connect to your tribe that way, maybe just tell them something you're grateful for about them, and that really can totally shift our perception of the issue and not feel like it's this overwhelming thing that we're stuck in. So that's the 3-step APT response. Let me know what you guys think of it, if you have any questions about it. And thanks for the feedback, you guys. Yeah, numbing out in a trance is totally what happens for me sometimes. I don't know about you, but like, I don't know, I usually crave sweets, but lately I've been craving like more chip kind of crunchy things, like a little bit salty, and those Terra chips that are like different colored root vegetables that are salty sweet. If we have a bag of those, I'll just be like standing at the counter, numbing out. Maybe I'll be on my phone, flipping through social media, and I'll just be like, what the heck am I doing? I'm just like in a trance. And if I don't portion it out and just make an intention to break that pattern by acknowledging that it's even happening, pausing and like putting it away, physically changing the environment, doing something else, maybe doing my breathing exercise or connecting. Instead of scrolling through social media, I'm actually going to connect with someone, send them a message, send them a voice memo. That's my favorite way of like connecting with people, is either sending them a quick video or a voice memo or a voice message. And I just feel like it creates more of a deeper connection than just writing a text or email. And then, so that's the 3 steps right there. Like if I'm numbing out with those chips, with those Terra chips, does anyone else love those? And that salty sweet, just so addicting. I will realize, I'm like, like sometimes it just takes like that second that, okay, what's actually happening? Get present again, acknowledge that this pattern is popping up. Okay, that's happening. And then pause, like take that moment, take your time with it. I'll even set my timer for 5, 10, 15 minutes and physically change the environment. So put it away, or if I'm gonna keep having some, portion it out and then put the rest away, and maybe do something else like brush my teeth or do a breathing exercise. And then the last one, T, connect with tribe. So that's when I usually send someone a message, or take the time to connect with Fernando, my husband, or my son Oli, and just really feel connected to people and not feel like overwhelmed by it, and then I'm alone in that feeling of struggle. All right, you guys, so those are the 3 steps for the APT response, and I wanted to kind of bring that together because I really find that, we can talk all day about nutrition and about exercise strategies and about sleep and optimizing your sleep and your stress. And really though, what it comes down to, I think the biggest thing for most people is this emotional pattern. and this feeling of an addiction almost to it, the behavior around cravings. So it's important to find ways to really break those grooves and get into a different groove that feels good for you so that you can enjoy your treats. I want you to have those things. Like, I love having treats. If you guys know me, if you know me in person, you know I like to have my donut every week or so. I make cakes and cookies sometimes. I love to have things that taste really good. And I don't skimp like on my food. I usually enjoy a generous amount of food, and I love it and I love to enjoy it. But it can sometimes tip over right into that feeling not good, and when it feels like it's too much and it feels like a burden, mentally burden, I'm like obsessing over it, or if I feel like I can't stop myself like from eating something, that's when I don't feel good. And so these tools have been really helpful for me to break those patterns. Just a second, let me grab some water. There's so much pollen in the air here in Chicago. It's like literally like snowing from these cottonwood trees. Fernando took a picture this morning, so I'm like having allergy stuff. Like post-nasal, and it looks like there's snow on the ground. He took a picture to send to my stepkids in Argentina, and they said, look, it's snowing again, and they literally thought it was snow. They thought it was really snowing again, because you never know with Chicago. It could be snowing in June, but it's not. It's like 90 degrees. So we're like, nope, it's just pollen blown in the air. So it's really been messing up my sinuses. Okay, so what I've been going through, these tools have been super helpful. And what else has been helpful for me has been to do an occasional kind of reset with my nutrition. For many years, I did a 5-day reset with my own coach, my healthy hormones coach, Stephanie Kleinberg, and did that 5 days of just really getting down to like nutritious whole foods, like nothing crazy like a juice cleanse, but to nutritious whole foods and really upping the greens and slowing down and just taking time to journal and reflect and really deal with those cravings that can come up. And use them as tools and like markers, right? Like they're road signs that there's something else that our body's asking for. There's something else that our heart and soul is asking for. When those pop up, to be grateful for them. So for many years I did her reset, and now I am super excited that over the last few months we've been doing it in the Magic Makers movement. And my own kind of nutritional reset and exercise reset, and that's the Rev and Reset program. It's a 2-week program, and we're getting started on Monday. I'm really excited. So I'm going to be prepping this weekend, and we're going to have our getting started like prep call, so everyone knows how to like handle it and get ready for it and get all their food ready and just get their mind in the right place tomorrow morning. So if you're in the Control Your Cravings course, you should have already received some information about the Rev and Reset. I'm only opening up to those that are in the Control Your Cravings course and the ladies in the Magic Makers movement, because I want to keep it small and really offer you one-on-one personalized coaching. When you join the Rev and Reset, you're going to get access to the Magic Makers movement coaching group, and that's where I'll be every day, there to support you, answer your questions, share recipes, share tools, and do Facebook Live, Q&As, all that good stuff. So only those that are in the Control Your Cravings course. So if that's something you're looking for, like to take what we've been doing this week, all these tools, and really put them in, like go through a boot camp, basically, right? Like the Rev and Reset is like a boot camp for 2 weeks to put all these tools into practice and to feel like you can really start to master them with support, like, right, with the support of a coach and with the support of a tribe. So it allows you to feel that support, that you're not in it alone. You get to hear other people's struggles and how they navigate them and succeed. And there's been some really amazing success stories from the Rev and Reset, myself included. Each time I do something like this, it's not an all or nothing kind of binge to lose weight, or I'm sorry, a restriction to lose weight and then I binge afterwards. No way. I would never support that. I do not support that as a coach and dietitian. No. What this is just a way, an opportunity for you to try something different, to see if you can feel better, to see if there's a different way of eating that feels good for you, both physically and mentally, that allows you to just strip away. I like to say it's like an onion, like you're peeling off the layers, like you're just peeling layer after layer. And each time we do it, there's another layer that we take off of something that doesn't serve us with our diet. So that's what this 2 weeks is all about. We get a little bit more tight on our nutrition. We get a little bit restricted in the sense of like we're cutting out gluten and alcohol and processed foods and sugars, but we're also like crowding in tons of nutritious foods that really taste good, because I don't want you eating crap, cardboard, healthy food, no way. So it's gonna be nutritious foods, and there's gonna be a lot of components of exercise included in it. So if you're really looking for a chance to increase the intensity of your exercise, you're gonna get access to all my archive of workouts. So I think there's over 100 or more now workouts in there, and yoga videos. So really getting smart about our exercise. So getting kind of into that athlete mode where we're working out pretty intensely and fueling up with our nutrition and protein. And then some days where we're maybe even pushing and you're kind of doing a little bit of a diet where you're working out and cutting calories a little bit, and then strategically having some recovery days right after that. We're never gonna go more than a couple days on that sort of push if that's what you're looking for in terms of fat loss. A little bit of that calorie restriction and ramping up of exercise can be helpful as long as you do it smartly, with days where you're increasing your calories and then days where you're just resting and maybe moving a lot with walking, but getting in lots of calming, soothing, lowering your cortisol and stress kind of days. So if you're interested in any of that, please make sure you add your name and email to the Control Your Cravings course. That's the only way you're going to access the Rev and Reset at a discounted rate with this exclusive coaching bonus. So make sure you check out all that, and I'll be sending you all these tools if you join the Control Your Cravings course too, that we've been going over for this whole week for the first 4 days, and today we'll be sending out all the information for day 5. Okay, I'm gonna check if there's any questions right now. Yeah, one of the ladies that did the Rev and Reset, she's changed her, there's ways that have completely changed their nutrition, which has been amazing. Ladies that have lost some weight, I know I lost inches when I did it. One of the, especially around my thighs, one of the ladies lost 14 pounds, which is amazing. Not just during the 2 weeks, but over a course of staying consistent with the tools that she gained from the Rev and Reset. I'm just checking the questions. Yes, awesome. Yeah, no questions right now, so I'm not gonna read all these out loud, but thank you so much for your comments. And thank you guys for watching in and for being part of this Control Your Cravings course. It's been really fun. This is the first time I've done something like this. So if you like this sort of format of sharing information, the education and tools with the emails that follow up, let me know. I really love to know your feedback if you have ideas for ways to make it better. I love that feedback too. I'm always open to suggestions. I really want to provide education and tools that are useful for you guys and you can actually take and implement in your life, because knowledge is great. It's nice to know, but we can just be popping around always like consuming information and just keep like getting stuck in that consumption mode and not getting into implementation mode. And that's where the magic happens, is when we actually just stop consuming information, stop consuming all this stuff, and just actually implement. So let's go from what we've been learning. So this has been an intensive 5 days of learning. The next 2 weeks in the Rev and Reset are gonna be all about implementation. So if you're interested in that, please come join us and we're gonna be making magic happen for sure. All right, you guys, love you. Have a wonderful weekend and take care. Let me know how you're doing. Bye.